Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. This is going to be another episode of Reforge Gaming, and in this episode, we're talking about Summer Game Fest and what I believe it did to E3, what it's going to do to E3. I believe it has killed E3. Now, yes, E3 was on its way out. I had my own criticisms of the event, even after getting to host main stage in 2019. Really loved that experience, but really thought they were not adapting well. And ever since, I feel that Keighley has been absolutely crushing it with his attempts to do live video game events. And that's what we're going to be discussing. I'm going to outline everything right here in the beginning of this video to give you all of the details as to what is happening during Summer Game Fest, what you can look forward to, and coverage right here on Reforge Gaming. This is a Reforge update. Summer Game Fest is around the corner, and it's my contention that it has killed E3. E3 will probably never be back, and if it does, it'll come back in a much more diminished way. Might even get baked into all the stuff that Geoff Keighley has been doing. If you like these quick updates, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button, and check me out on Reforge Gaming, where I stream live. So many are still referring to the events in June as E3, even though all portions of the event have been canceled. Many were saying that E3's sort of draw and demand was waning and that they needed to go digital only. They failed to really adapt and do that in the previous years. This year, they were looking at going digital only and then fundamentally had to just cancel the entire event. Summer Games Fest last year to this year, in my opinion, looks to have grown in support and involvement, and in my mind, Geoff Keighley's taking the crown. His Summer Game Fest will be the central summer event for gaming news and gaming announcements, and then he'll end the year with the Game Awards every year. I believe he's set himself up very, very well to put on these live events as nice bookends summer to the end. Now, the official site of Summer Game Fest has all of the following information I'm going to give you. These are all the things that you can tune into during this window of time, and we will be covering it as well here on Reforge Gaming. So June 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern is when Summer Game Fest goes live. It's a cross-industry showcase of announcements and games hosted by Geoff Keighley. Then he recently announced this, and this is for the next day, June 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern, the Netflix Geeked Week Gaming. He is a part of that. He's woven that into Summer Games Fest, and he will be involved, so good for Keighley. Same day, June 10th at 3 p.m. Eastern, is the Tribeca Games Spotlight, a showcase featuring exclusive gameplay and creator interviews from Tribeca's official selections. And then 2 days later, this is on their website, is the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase at 1 p.m. Eastern. Join Xbox and Bethesda for a look at what's next. There are some other events going on as well. On June 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern is the Guerrilla Collective. At 12:30 p.m. Eastern the same day, this is Saturday, June 11th, is the Wholesome Direct. There's the Future Game Show on Saturday, June 11th as well at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then the PC Gaming Show will go live on Sunday, June 12th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so those are all the things happening, and Summer Game Fest kicks it off. So many people, I think, are going to associate Summer Game Fest with the summer sort of E3 thing that happens. Like, hey, it's June. It's time for video game news. It's time for all these things. Now, unconfirmed at the time of recording this on May 23rd, 2022, is Devolver Direct, Ubisoft Forward, State of Play from Sony, Nintendo Direct. There is an official cancellation, so we know this is not happening. EA Play has been canceled. It will not be happening this year. So if you're wanting to tune into any of these things, whether it's Tribeca, Netflix Geeked Week, Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, Guerrilla Collective, Wholesome Direct, Future Game Show, PC Gaming Show, we will be co-streaming and covering all these things on Reforge Gaming, which is our live show where we cover gaming and gameplay in the mornings. It is my contention that at this point in time, E3 will not have a foot back in the door. All these events are taking place. Many of these events and sponsors are working directly with Geoff Keighley and Summer Game Fest. That is now the centerpiece summer show that will take over. It's bye-bye E3, which is really sad to say, but that's what I think is happening. As always, let me know what you think in the comments below, or head over to Reforge Gaming, where I stream live. Hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next one. Dude, I swear, this nose thing, it's like it doesn't bother me all morning, and all of a sudden I hit record and start doing a subject, and it's like my nose just starts itching like crazy. It's so insane. It's like this weird vibration. It's like my voice vibrates. I don't know. It's super annoying. It only seems to happen in those opens. It's like I'm trying to maintain composure and not scratch my nose like some kind of a crazy person. But it's like, Jiminy Christmas. It just starts to, it's like this weird tickle itch thing. It's so annoying. Try not talking so loud, my wife said. Yeah, that'll help. It happens to me too. I thought it was just me. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's like the rumble of my voice. It's got to be what it is. Like it makes the bass in my voice causes like a vibration, and then so it tickles. It's like, oh my gosh. It doesn't happen all the time, but buddy, when it does, it is just unnerving. Now, Mo says E3 will be back. I don't think so. Guys, new stream, so make sure you are on live chat. Make sure you have clicked the like button. Let's do this. E3 2023, will it happen? Will E3 come back? That's your poll, yes or no. We got a new poll, new stream, new likes. I just don't think so, man. I think E3 took way too long to adapt. I really do. I remember I was super stoked to go and host. I really was. And then when I got involved with Summer Game Fest, and I got interviewed and I got to host, they were going to include me in a bunch of other stuff, but then, June 2020 happened. But that was, to me, I was like, this is where everything is headed. These digital events with digital interviews. And I had been saying that for a while. I was like, E3 has the infrastructure and the connections to say, hey, let's just do that. Let's go that route of just sitting down, interviewing devs, all digital, and then you don't have to worry about flying people out, renting out all these spaces, charging people all this money. It just really started to feel like it was going the way of the dodo. It was like, you can't just continue to do this any longer. It doesn't feel like it fits. It doesn't feel like it is in demand, as it were. And I just think more and more people are really, really looking for that digital engagement. It's like, dude, it's so much easier for me to watch at home. It's so much easier for me to just consume a stream, as opposed to like traveling all the way to LA of all places. Ugh. E3 was a relic of print media, says Eugene. I'm making space for my lunch now. I just realized we're doing audio a little bit differently in the studio now with the Madam streams, and so it's easier to do wired systems, because then we can just split the headphone jack. They'll copy the digital format, says Demon Eyes. So many peasants, I'm going to be sick, says Zubair. I hope it's going to come back, says Sony Kent. Zubair said, I think companies have discovered the value of releasing videos with high production value on their own schedules. They aren't going back. There's too much exclusivity for E3 to exist nowadays. If you remove Sony and Microsoft, as they are doing their own shows now, what do you have left? Not a lot. I think what Geoff Keighley has done is brilliant, because he kicks off everything that happens. He kicks it all off, which means you've got people associating everything that happens. Like the Xbox Bethesda showcase, people are going to associate that with him and with his event. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's Summer Games Fest. No, it's not. That's not it at all. It's not. It has nothing to do with the Summer Games Fest. Summer Game Fest. Will you stream the event on the weekend? Yes. I typically do not. I do not stream on the weekends. But when events like this happen, we will be streaming. Yes, because we think it's well worth covering. There's a lot going on. There's the Future Games Show, PC Gaming Show, Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcased, the Netflix Geeked Week Gaming, and then obviously Summer Game Fest, which is June the 9th. So basically starting June 9th next month, that's a Thursday, all the way to that Monday, we're gonna be streaming just a junk ton. You're going to want to be subscribed to all of our channels as well. One of the beauties of what we've done recently with the move of having Reforge Radio be a gaming news channel is it gives us the option of like having tons of places to put all of our coverage. So here will be all the live event coverage, and then radio can be all like the news breakdowns as well. What's funny to me is Keighley told them when he left they would fail and he would replace them. And look at what happened. Yeah. The Sicky accelerated a natural evolution that was taking place. Traveling for information is silly in the modern age. Geoff always overhypes these events. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You have to hype people up and get them excited for the events. Guys, make sure and smash the like button. Let's get 16 more quick likes. Let's get 100 likes really fast and try and get some momentum with this. This one's not as prominent of a subject. Like, people aren't actively going to be searching for this subject. This is more of an opinion piece. So we're really leaning a little bit more heavily here on Reforge Gaming into topic-based coverage, as well as my opinion, as well as gameplay. And then Reforge Radio is perfect for all of the gaming news that we don't get to cover here. So I've got news for you this afternoon over on Reforge Radio about rumors about Forspoken getting delayed. EA is attempting to get purchased or merged with somebody. So we got a lot to cover this afternoon over there as well. E3 was so much more than just a games trailer showcase. E3 will come back eventually. I don't think so. I just don't think so. I don't think E3 has a chance to come back because, listen, what they have to do is what Keighley's already doing. So who's going to work with them and who's going to bother watching? Does that make sense? Like, track with the logic there. What E3 should have done 2 years ago, Geoff Keighley has already been doing. So all they can do is essentially the same thing. Is like, well, we'll do a digital-only event, we'll get really big celebrity hosts, and we'll interview devs. And a lot of the devs are going to be like, well, we're already doing that with Geoff. We're already doing that with him. Summer Game Fest is the new hotness. Now, if E3 decides to kind of undercut what he's doing, and maybe they spend a ton of money and they go earlier than him, they do like the first week of June, a lot of these companies they'll have no problem being like, oh, well, let's work with E3. But I think they're going to miss the boat, as Demon Eyes is saying. I think they're going to miss the boat because Geoff's going to push for exclusivity. He's going to be like, no. You got to treat us nice. You got to give us the goods. You give us the goods. Don't give it to them a week early or whatever. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them agree to it. Forspoken's coming out October 2022. Big fact. Please listen. I mean, it's not a fact until the game is out. There's rumors about it getting delayed. We're going to cover that on Reforge Radio. E3 was dead the moment that Sony left. If E3 would have pivoted to digital and worked with Microsoft, I think they would have been okay. Because they would have been able to prove the concept, right, Eugene? They'd have been like, look, it's all digital now. It's way less expensive to be involved. The viewership's fantastic. It's great marketing. We're working side by side with Microsoft. And then a lot of people would have got involved, okay? But they didn't do that. They basically let Keighley do that. You know what I'm saying? NEV Rising. Maybe. It depends on how this subject goes. We want to start to use gameplay as like a just in case, because like if the talk shows just kind of fall off the rails and don't get good engagement, we can always have that as a backup plan. But it's unfortunately that really hurts our momentum going over to radio, so it's kind of rough. We're in a weird spot right now. We're doing so much content and so much of the content's dependent upon momentum. Forspoken has a lot of potential. If it needs to be delayed, so be it. The game is exciting. The last few years were just the final nails. E3 was better when Sony left? How do you figure? How is E3 better when one of the big dogs, you got Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, and when one of the big dogs pulls out, how does that make the conference better? That doesn't. How? E3 is an in-person event. It'll be back, maybe in a smaller portion. No, I think in-person conferences are going to continue to be a thing of the past. I really do. I think you're going to continue to see in-person events get less and less engagement. It's just too much trouble. People have gotten a taste for consuming this sorts of stuff at home. Look at the effect it's having on cinema. Look at the effect it's having on cinema. You're going to the theater. E3 is somewhat like Netflix. It's the beginning. In the beginning, lots of networks allowed their shows on there. Now they'll all have their own streaming services. I see the big game publishers doing the same, doing their own shows. You're going to see a diminished turnout for any in-person events going forward, just because it's so much trouble to travel. People have gotten a distaste for all of that. They're like, I don't want to do all of that. E3 will be pay-to-play demos of announced games. Maybe. E3 will continue just without gaming, says Creature. It made it just fine without gaming being the showcase for years. It will do it again. We just won't care. There's already 100 votes on the poll. E3 2023, will it happen? Will E3 come back? 60-40. Most people saying no, it will not come back. If, very big if, E3 comes back, I think it should go back to being media only. Opening to the public was a mistake. My advice to anybody in charge of E3 is just play nice with Keighley and do a day with him. Like how he's doing with Netflix. They should have the E3 Games Showcase. Okay? You do the E3 Games Showcase and it's a day under the Summer Game Fest umbrella. That's the move. Go to the existing functioning funnel and just work within that funnel. And get your interviews, and get your FaceTime, and get your exclusive trailers or whatever. Trying to do their own thing, I just don't see it. How does Sony share information about new TVs and electronics outside gaming? Yeah, I don't know. Facts. I went to the movies 3 weeks ago with my wife and son. The theater is just down the road, mind you. We paid almost $60 just to sit in a theater when we could have rented the movie at home. I'm telling you, it's just different now. I think people have lost the love of the experience. Everyone remembers their first concert or the one movie they saw in theaters. If there's no experience, then no one will remember the end. E3 will come back just like BlizzCon. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing the fact that the Summer Game Fest is potentially killing E3, or already has in many people's minds. At least in my mind, I think it has. Yeah, I put games plural in all this stuff. I did not mean to do that. It's Summer Game Fest, not Summer Games Fest. Can't believe I did that. I'm gonna fix that. My wife said she'll never watch a stream that makes a mistake. Give me 1 second. Add an S
multiple games.
to games. Oh, no, I'm not going to go to my room. I have to do work. Stop! Guys, my wife said I have to go to my room for making that spelling mistake. The movie experience is terrible. It really is. It just doesn't feel worth it. It does not feel worth it.
This is all the parents who can't ever go anyway.
Yo, what's good, Dry Drip? How's it going, man? Member on YouTube, here on TikTok right now. Thank you. If I don't respond quickly on TikTok, I am sorry. We don't get a lot of interaction over there. We're slowly trying to build that audience, and I need to get a phone that will allow me to plug my microphone into it, but also output its screen to a monitor so I can see what you guys are saying in real time.
Is it
I'm waiting for the medieval fashion to come back so I can walk around in plate armor without getting weird looks. Drive to the theater, buy tickets, overpriced snacks, find a seat, stuck there for hours, people clapping, talking, etc.
Clapping.
Yeah.
Like the first people who made the beer there. That was so good.
That was great. Turned out really good.
Thanks.
I'm taking my son to see Jurassic World in theaters for his 10th birthday next month. He's stoked because it's the first time he's going to go to the movies. That's really the only reason to do it, Vengeance, is for that kind of an experience. A big Marvel movie, you know, a big dinosaur movie. Yes, yeah, Downton Abbey. Wait, no, I'm just kidding about that one. You can watch that one here. I don't want to be crying in the theater. That's embarrassing.
You cry at every movie.
I do. I cry at almost
That's
everything.
why you don't like to go to the theater.
Yeah, that's the truth comes out. That's why I don't like going to the theater, because I cry at almost every movie now.
But it's dark. No one will see you.
They'll hear me. I'm not a loud crier. The last movie I saw that was an experience was Avatar. Hopefully the new one will do the same. We need demos for digital events. What do you mean by that? Like them actually demoing the game, like playing it so people can see it? Yeah, anything with Momoa, that's right. Order tickets online, assign seats, take in own snacks and drinks. Theater still rocks. If you got to do it the right way. I'm definitely going to watch Maverick in IMAX Friday. I'm not. Honestly, the best movie theater experience I had was when I had AMC's membership. 12 movies a month for like $20. Even I had popcorn and a drink. I ended up paying like $16 per trip, so not so bad. Oh yeah, if we didn't have kids, like, or I was like,
We had more money.
well, no, bachelor life or single life or like no kids, I could see that if you were big into movies. That's a steal.
I was a loser.
Hey, that's rude. Telica just said that's what she did.
I didn't listen. I didn't hear it.
Gaming events were awesome back in the 90s and 2000s. Only way the theater experience is worth it now is box seats and IMAX. Yo, a 3-month milestone membership, Suede. Thank you for renewing your membership. Appreciate that very, very much. Guys, we've updated the perks to be more clear. Membership on this channel comes with 4 perks. Increased access in the Discord, a members-only AMA once a week, members-only Madam streams, and a once-a-month community game night. Those 4 things get better if you upgrade to Tier 2. You can make Madam and I play games on Friday nights, and you get premium and preferred treatment during community game night or AMA or really anything. So make sure and upgrade if you want, or become a member. $5 a month gets you everything. I'm excited for Forspoken game coming out on October this year. In fact, please listen. Okay, I forgot about you. You're like a bot that just keeps saying the same thing over and over. I remember now. I don't know why you're here and doing that, but cool. Last Tuesday, I saw Doctor Strange, $10 for 2 tickets and $10 for food. Thanks for being part of a reward system thing. It's a steal. I'm going to see Top Gun 100%. I'm not.
I've never seen it.
The poll, my wife's never seen it. You're not missing much,
But
to
it's
be
not
honest.
even it.
If you didn't grow up with it, you aren't missing much. Seriously. I know that's blasphemy to some people, but that movie
But
is...
doesn't it have Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
I like him.
I like Tom Cruise too, but that movie is if it's like one of those movies where if you didn't grow up with it, it's Bush League. If you grew up with it, it's gospel, it's sacred. But if you didn't grow up with it, it is such a just not such great movie. It's just so corny. 7 months of membership. Thank you, Roger, for hitting a milestone. Get the membership, folks. It's the best $5 you can spend on the internet. Top Gun is not a good film, but you are missing its point. If you didn't grow up with it, it just didn't age well. You had to grow up with it.
But Tom Cruise.
That's why my wife would say, I don't get it though. I'm not saying that you guys can't like it. I'm saying you have to have that nostalgic catalyst, or it's just not that good of a movie. It really isn't. Did you watch Rescue Rangers? No, Yeah, when Cap wields Mjolnir, yeah, a lot of people cheered. I thought that was okay. Anymore, I'm happy to stay home just so my shoes don't stick to the floor. I honestly don't understand how much trash people leave behind in the theaters. Oh, yeah. grow up with it, or maybe you have an interest in aviation. Is that a good enough reason to watch that movie? The aviation interest? If you guys are just tuning in, I am saying that Summer Game Fest killed E3, which is why we're asking at the top of the chat, will E3 come back? I don't think it will come back. If you think it'll come back, I want to hear why you think that. I once bought Top Gun on VHS and I saw it probably 100 times. Yeah. The thing about E3 and the thing about Summer Game Fest is I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care what makes it and what doesn't make it. Right? I don't care. Because I love covering the live events. I love covering, gaming announcements. So I don't have like a dog in the fight. It actually, listen, truth be told, it actually benefits me if E3 does come back, because that's just more live event coverage, which we crush that. Like, that's something that we do really well, I would say, and we get really good response. But to me, it's like, I don't see how it comes back, because I think it just has to literally mimic what Keighley is doing. Do you prefer different gaming showcases or one big event? I like the different gaming showcases because then we can do debrief, right? An event can end and we can kind of talk about it, chop up what happened, reminisce. That real quick reminisce that you do is like, oh, that trailer, or oh, this, or oh, that. And then we go back and kind of look at the trailers and the gameplay. This Uber driver is getting 1 star, speeding, and giving you anxiety. I think they can see if they're speeding, right? If you submit a complaint. I don't think they're supposed to do that. I think it will come back for nostalgia purposes, says Matt. It may then fail, and it will possibly reevaluate the concept of E3. I think that they were so big that they won't admit failure till it happens. Right. Like E3 is so big and so long-standing that they're like, listen, we can come back. E3 died when Sony opted out. That's what Eugene said. Eugene said that exact same thing a moment ago. He said that E3 was done as soon as that happened. That was like the beginning of the end in his mind. I don't think so. I think they could have turned it around. I think they could have turned it around with Microsoft. Day on Reforge Military Air Power Hour. The scramjet, gimmick, or the future? How do you like your hypersonic missile? A 7-month milestone for Deathside. Thank you for renewing. Hit the join button so Madam can school Lono at Elden Ring. Thank you, Deathside. Yeah, we need like 80 new members. We only need like 5 or 6 new members a day to keep pushing. Well, now we need probably about, how many do we need? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 days between now and when we would need to hit the goal. So we need 12 members a day if my wife's going to play Elden Ring. We really need to step it up. In the meantime, you can upgrade to Tier 2 and make us play games on Friday nights. That's part of the perks of upgrading to a Tier 2 member. That is in the Discord under the Madam Game Vote room. You can put in 1 game per month. And Cat, Victor, Vengeance, and Cardoc have already done that. Stick to Steam. PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass games. If you're just tuning in, we are discussing Summer Game Fest. All the events going on, we will be covering them on this channel. I am a Safe for Work broadcaster, so make sure you're subscribed. We do a talk show like this Monday through Friday. We did one this morning about God of War Ragnarok graphics and what is changing or what looks updated. And we're discussing why I think Summer Game Fest killed E3. I think it's done. What class is Madam going to play? I don't know. E3 is GameCon for Creature. Didn't Sony only miss one E3 before the sickie hit? So how can we say E3 failed when Sony left? It was only 1 year. It was a pretty big pullout, Jake. That wasn't just like some small little indie studio being like, we're going to skip this year. It was Sony. I think it sent a loud and clear message. Sony first skipped in 2019. That's what he's saying. They skipped once right before the sickie happened. He's saying, why are we saying that played such a significant role if they only basically skipped 1 year? I'm saying that it was the message that it sent. It was like, oh, you can just do your own thing. You just do your own thing. You don't need to do you don't need to do the E3 event. Sony was out, plus they did their own show, and that went well. E3 2020 still happened? What? No, it didn't. Did it? Are you sure? I didn't think it happened. Everything got canceled that summer. Everything. Yeah, I don't see how they could have had their event. Like, every event on God's green earth was getting canceled that year. It was bad. There was a virtual event, and it was Summer Game Fest, because I got to be a part of it. Summer Game Fest stepped right in that year and still did their thing, because I did that thing with Kelly Link and Okadrian. Orphan Twin says, why scramble to be ready at the same time when you can just release when you want? It's why we get announcements way too early. Right, because everybody's trying to hit that summer marketing funnel, and so it's not ready, and they announce, and then everyone's like, oh, when's it coming? Yeah. I was curious if you could get a stream key since you're bigger. I mean, we could. I could stream on my gaming rig on TikTok if I could get a stream key. I would need to get a much better camera, though. I don't know if I can do an HDMI splitter. E3 2021 still happened digitally? I don't remember, Eugene. I don't remember, because I was in the heat of something else going on that June. I don't remember. I follow Apple closely, and I've seen this progression over the last decade. They used to headline the Mac World show and make announcements, and they pulled out of that, and they started doing their own thing. Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense because you can control the messaging, the production, the talent, you know? You can control all of that. Oh, no, yeah, E3 did happen. E3 recap. The biggest announcements at E3 that year. Yeah, they posted that article. Wait. That's 2021. It happened virtually in 2021. Yeah, what happened in 2020 though? Did they do anything? Hey Lono, you probably won't remember me. It's Yellow Sacred. I changed my username. Hope everything's going well. I like the rebrand. Was your name Yellow Sacred on the purple platform, and did you use an underscore? Did you use an underscore? But doesn't remember it? No. Creature, I was talking about 2020. I remember that we covered E3 2021. I wasn't talking about that. We were saying 2020 got canceled completely. They scrapped the entire show. You did? I remember you. I remember you from purple. I think you had just gotten, the last time we were over there, I think you had just upgraded to a purple badge. Yeah, I knew that the E3 happened 2019 digitally because we covered it. I was like, no, 2020, they didn't have time to change everything. They just scrapped the entire dadgum show. I think tech and gaming are too dynamic to have a big annual show like E3. I'm sure pubs are happy to do their own thing and work on their own timeline. Right. You got redirected to the Fall Guys video the past 30 minutes? Yeah, E3 doesn't have a single host, Creature. E3 was always doing stuff for YouTube, wasn't he? I thought he did like the YouTube desk. I remember because I got told that my Bungie interview performed better and they liked it more than his interview. Like, I was told that, like, keep that quiet. Not doing that. But yeah, my Bungie interview 2019, like, Bungie higher ups, they liked it better and it performed better. Oh, he was a producer. Devs were literally wasting time creating demos and trailers with content specifically for E3. Oh, the irony? I know, right? Unless we see gameplay of at least 5 never before shown games in June, Microsoft stays in the doghouse, says Harry. What do you guys think? Does Microsoft got to come out swinging? So if you're tuning in, Summer Game Fest, E3, it killed it. That's what I think. E3's not happening this year. I don't think it's coming back. Take the poll at the top of the chat. What about the Microsoft Bethesda showcase? Could Microsoft pull out any surprises this year? I don't know. You want my honest opinion? I'm going to tell you what Microsoft's going to do right now. You write this one down, put it on your refrigerator. The reason they announced the Starfield and the Redfall delay as early as they did is because they're significant portions of the showcase. That's why. I think that Starfield and Redfall are significant portions of the showcase. There's just, That's what they have to show. That's what they have to reveal. That's what they have to get everybody hyped up about. That's why they got the delays trotted out as early as they did. As they're like, look, man, we want to show a bunch of this stuff. This stuff is central to the platform going forward. These are big titles that we're very proud of. And we got to let people know that they're getting delayed now, because if not, they're going to be real irritated when they find out after we show them all this gameplay. Yo, Brendan, another new member today here on Gaming. Enjoy the dope badge and emote your dope and deserve dope stuff. We're trying to get about 12 new members a day. It's really hard. The quota's gone up because we didn't get quite enough as the month transpired to make my wife play Elden Ring. But thank you, Brendan, for jumping in. Don't forget, when you become a member, you get 4 perks. Discord, community game night, Madam streams, and weekly AMAs. That's all members only stuff. And all that gets enhanced and upgraded if you go up to tier 2. And that's already been outlined and updated in the Discord. Give me 1 second. We have a room in the Discord for tier 2s and up called Madam Game Voting. So get your games in there. Excuse me. I wish I could remember who said that. Oh, the wait is over. Barrier says Microsoft has to release games before I care about their reveals. Mo says all of their studios submitted something, so there's plenty to show. Not saying they're showing everything, but they should be fine. Still disappointed about the delay, but we will see. Still hyped for the 12. Yeah, I think the Microsoft Showcase is going to be good, Mo. I don't think it's going to be as good because of the delays. Does that make sense? I think the delays hurts the showcase. So they have all these things apparently that have been submitted and they're ready to show. And they're gonna have to say like that, like basically nothing is launching this year, except for what, Scorn. Let tier 2 votes for Elden Ring unanimously. No, you can't vote for Elden Ring with the tier 2 perk. We already have 230 votes on the poll. 60% say E3 will not come back. 40% say it will. Paul in the Discord saying it will come back even if it's not for gamers. A delay should never hurt anything, in my opinion. How does it not hurt a showcase that was supposed to have this resounding... They get done showing you all the Starfield stuff. Play it this November. Like, not 20 minutes ago, I had people in here bashing Sony Showcase for not showing enough or showing stuff that wasn't coming out anytime soon. So, of course that hurts the showcase. To say it doesn't hurt the showcase is ridiculous. 2 of the games they were supposed to be able to announce, show, and say, play it this year, they can't say that. That hurts the showcase. There's still plenty from the showcase that needs to drop. Yeah, but... Mo, having a showcase and not being able to talk about anything launching this year, I think hurts it. Yeah, I think the like and dislike button should be at the bottom of chat or around chat or something. I think that it's especially on the mobile. Geez, Creature, call me out. Yeah, Creature's calling you guys out for not hitting the like button. I never bashed Sony for showing games that were a ways out. I don't like the fact that they didn't show more of their games. Ryan says, hello, I'm a new subscriber here. Welcome in. If you're new and you've hit subscribe, thank you for doing that. We do talk shows on this channel all throughout the week. We did one this morning about God of War Ragnarok and the graphical changes and why we think that may have happened. We do a safe for work, topic-driven broadcast all throughout the week. We have another show that we go over to in the afternoon called Reforge Radio that's all about gaming news. So we welcome you in. I can't remember hearing anything in a while, but has Microsoft said anything about Avowed? There's some smaller titles I recall sounding interesting. Avowed is apparently making an appearance at E3 from what I have read. You know what I mean? Hey man, in like 2 to 3 years this dope game is coming. Here's a still image. Hope you're hype. Then 14 more of these same announcements. Xbox Showcase without the delayed games. I'm not saying it's barrier free to set up, but yeah, it's alright to end the convo. I'm too old to learn critical thinking anyway. Redfall and Starfield are delayed. Fable, Elder Scrolls, Perfect Dark are the ones that are far out. Halo is just trying to pick up the pieces. Hellblade 2, doubt it. Forza Motorsport 8, Gear 6. Yeah, there's nothing big they can release this year. I think I'm with Mo. I'm good seeing games that aren't going to be out for a while if it's actually substantial coverage, not just a name and a splash screen. The latter is worthless. I'm not saying I'm inherently against that. E3 2020 was not canceled. Yes, it was, Thomas. Like, man, I do not understand why you're here. Okay, my point was not that you can't have those types of showings, right? That was not my point. My point was when your two big centerpieces of like Redfall and Starfield are coming this year, when you don't get to say that and your showcase is nothing but here's a game, play it sometime next year. Here's a game, play it sometime next year. Here's a game, play it sometime next year. That's, I think, bad for your showcase. Showcases more and more are getting to say, play it right now, play it next month, play it this fall, right? And so, what ends up happening is, think of it like almost like a pyramid. You can have some really big things up at the top. Your big announcements, your coming soon, here's your release dates, da-da-da-da-da-da. Everything else behind that can just be supporting filler, right? It can be supporting filler. So you can have all those like filler announcements that don't say much. There's not even a release date. There's just a, yeah, we're making it kind of a thing. I think that's totally fine. My point was, when you lose that pyramid and everything gets shoved down into the category of sometime next year, sometime next year, sometime next year, well, then it starts to become white noise. It's just a smattering of announcements that are with nothing anytime soon. The goal of the showcase is to get people excited about the platform, and it's hard to get excited about the platform. Think of what we're coming off of. We're coming off of a significant drought, a gaming drought, bunches of delays, and Xbox got Halo and Forza. So you're looking at this showcase to really, really increase that loyalty and that confidence. And I think they're going to have a hard time doing that when all of their announcements don't touch 2022. If they could have had all these announcements and the crown jewel was, hey, all that great stuff you saw in Starfield is available this November. All that great stuff you guys saw in Redfall is available this October. That's like that's extremely helpful. to the showcase. If the showcase simply becomes a smattering of announcements of nothing for this year, that I think hurts it. I'm not saying it's wasted. I merely use the expression not being able to have release dates for Starfield and Redfall this year. I think that hurts the showcase. That is such a fair and measured statement. Like, to disagree with that, I think is just silly. To be like, no, it's not going to hurt the showcase at all. What do you mean? They don't get to. They have to basically show you games and talk about games that have the air of disappointment around them. That's not good for your showcase. That's why typically showcases, announcements, gameplays, and trailers happen, and then months later they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we have to delay that. You know what I mean? They divorce the delay and the disappointment from the announcement. Well, you can't do that this year. It's floating in the air. I think you're failing to take into account the sad shape of the Xbox ecosystem. I think announcements that aren't showing up for a while is better than the AAA desert that we're in. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Why even have the showcase? I think it's perfectly fine to have the showcase and to show off your property and to reinvigorate your fans and to get your and keep your shareholders happy. I made a very, very measured statement. It was not controversial. It wasn't mean or fanboyish. I just said, I think the delays of Starfield and Redfall it hurts the showcase to not have that ability. It's not as exciting. Why would they do it early then? It's a psychological trick. You rip the Band-Aid off now. You don't want to get everybody excited in June, and then what? July announce the delay? That would look disingenuous at best. It'd be like, wait a minute. A month ago, you had to know about this. You didn't tell us? The delays hurt the showcase, but don't ruin it. They likely have more to show. Yeah, I wasn't saying it was ruined. I said I just think it hurts the showcase. You're not wrong. We're disagreeing about the degree of harm. I didn't even say how much it hurt it. I didn't say how much it hurt it. I said it would hurt it, and then I spent however many minutes debating Mo on the fact that he said it won't hurt it at all. And I'm like, yes, it will. And I made my case by saying, if every single announcement is next year, next year, next year, next year, next year, next year, I just think that starts to get long on the tooth really quick for your presentation. Like Ragnarok? What do you mean like Ragnarok? There's some games that I don't care how long they take to come out. Yeah, I'm not saying this is like an entitled gamer that's anti-delay. I'm saying when your primary central thing that everybody's been waiting for had to be delayed, I think that hurts your announcements because you don't get to have that big crescendo. I'll give you an example. Imagine watching the Fall Guys presentation last week and they announced everything about Switch, Xbox, performance, and all that. And they just said, yeah, it's coming soon. It's coming soon sometime next year. Well, that takes all the air out of the tires. You're like, okay. But when they're like, June 21st. June 21st. Here it comes. It's like this big punch. It's this big crescendo. Show a date and delay later. God of War Ragnarok never showed a date and delayed later. It was an internal thing. We didn't know when that game was coming. How'd you feel about the Fall Guys Forge mode announcement? Oh, Zubair, we're going to have so much fun with that. It's a shame that's not coming in June as well. That's going to be really fun. What's good, Fuzzy? According to Game Rant, E3 2023, this is April 1st. It'll be a hybrid digital and physical event. Okay. Yes, it did, sir. Mo, there was never a published and publicly announced release date for God of War Ragnarok. That's simply not true. They never said that. A window? They said 2021. Tons of people, tons of companies said that you can't hold them to that. And yeah, if Ragnarok would have had a press conference, a big state of play, after we found out it got delayed out of 2021. Let's imagine summer of 2021, they finally show us some Ragnarok gameplay. And a month prior, they let everybody know it got delayed to next year. That would hurt the showcase. That's totally logical. That's totally logical to say, hey, we're finally going to show you Ragnarok. Oh, we're finally going to show you gameplay. And a month prior, they tell us it's getting delayed out of the year. Well, yeah, that hurts the showcase. It takes the air out of the tires. It's like, yay. When are you going to do a Ragnaros coffee tie-in? I see this in the Apple rumor mill all the time. Apple is delaying the new M2 MacBook Air. They never announced and won't even acknowledge that it exists. It's all speculation on top of speculation. I'm telling you right now. It would hurt any showcase if you find out before the showcase that the biggest titles got delayed. I'm not saying anything against Microsoft. I'm making a very logical and measured statement. I don't care who's doing it. I would say the same thing about Nintendo. If Nintendo was finally going to show us Breath of the Wild 2 this summer, that showcase is not as good because we know it's been delayed out of this year. It wouldn't be as good. I wouldn't be as excited. It's that simple. Man, we finally get to look at Breath of the Wild 2. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, it's such a bummer it got delayed out of this year. They don't get to end the gameplay showcase by saying, like, December 11th, 2022, Breath of the Wild 2. Like, they don't get to do that now. They have a targeted quarter one or whatever the frick. Yeah. The show goes from here's what's coming in a few months to here's what's coming next year, and what we're showing is probably going to change. So, right, like, I am not knocking Microsoft. I'd say the same thing about a Sony showcase or a Nintendo showcase. It's just, I am 100% in support of delays. I am 100% in support of delaying Ragnarok. I'm in support of all of that. Just found out June 2021, God of War Ragnarok was delayed to 2022. We had nothing but a window. In September, the trailer dropped. It's a downer basically because of the delay. It's like you're teasing us at some point. That's all I'm trying to say, yeah. I think there's an unspoken element that there is nothing to take the place of the delayed goods. If two games came out and one was delayed, that feels better than nothing coming out. That's exactly right. My concern is that it's just going to reemphasize that, like, Microsoft sadly doesn't have a showing this year. That's not a long-term problem. It's a short-term problem. So Summer Game Fest, E3, PC gaming show, Future Game Show, all these game shows, all these shows about gaming, and Microsoft sadly doesn't get to come to table of any of those and say, here's our big title this year. That's not a long-term problem. It's a short-term problem. But acting as if it isn't an issue, come on. Yo, what's good, Gritter? It basically turns into a consolation prize and not the showstopper. This time in 2023, Microsoft will be firing titles. Yeah, like, say it that way. Come on, Mo, and you Microsoft homies. Are you going to act like this time next year, Microsoft's not going to have a significantly better showcase? Summer of 2023 is going to be great for them. They're going to have so much more to talk about, announce, and show. So many more titles to reference. And, like, maybe, you know what I'm saying? They'll reference Starfield, how well it did. Hey, maybe there's DLC coming or whatever. They'll be in such a better position. I'm not slamming them. It's just, man, it's just not their year, unfortunately. Now, the beautiful thing here, and this is in Microsoft's corner, is that expectations are low, and that's kind of where you want them before a showcase like this. The showcase will probably get a very, very positive response because everybody's expectations are exceptionally low right now. They're like, I don't know, man. Microsoft doesn't have much going on this year, and they may come out just absolutely guns blazing, get everybody excited. Even if it's stuff that can't land this year, they could still come out and say, we haven't shown you much or talked about much, but look at all this great stuff coming to the Xbox ecosystem next year. Like, 2023 is going to be a big year for them if, in fact, these things all can start landing in a timely fashion. I listened to your earlier opinion of Top Gun. I must say I felt the need to call and explain why Top Gun is a good movie and why most may misunderstand it. Is it a good movie if most people misunderstand it? Doesn't it fail at some level, Gritter? Jolly good show, worker. Thank you, Lufi. Mo says, I'm talking about now, and I believe they've got something. Mo, I will concede this point to you. If they have something, okay? If Microsoft has something big, then it's going to feel real big because the expectations aren't very high right now. I cannot be the only industry analyst looking at the situation and being like, man, Microsoft's going to be a weak showcase, bro. That's going to be weak. That's going to be rough. I can't be the only person anticipating that. There has to be more people than just me. There has to be way more people than just me looking at this and saying that this showcase is going to be weak. Now, again, that puts them in a great position because they can drop some really big bombs, and they'll really, really make an impact because people are like, we didn't expect much, and Microsoft came out swinging. Oh man, I rewatched Top Gun last night for the podcast. Not even close to great. Way more cheesy than I remember, and I remember it being super cheesy. Yeah, just let it be a nostalgic memory. Don't go rewatch it as a critical adult. Like, you've seen too many movies. You've gone through a palate metamorphosis. Don't go back and watch those old movies. Not sure if I used the right chat in Discord. Do you see the Summer of Games schedule yet? I think I saw what you said. Yeah, the IGN one. Yeah. I outlined that at the beginning of the show, like the Future Games show, PC Gaming show, the Netflix thing. I drunk watch Top Gun all the time. Only watch Top Gun for the volleyball scene. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing the Summer Game Fest and why I think it killed E3. I don't think E3 is coming back. We want to know what you think. E3 2023, is it coming back? Summer Game Fest this summer, we will cover it. We will do all the different showcases and all the different, shows, and we'll co-stream it, and it's going to be awesome. I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster. You can subscribe to this channel in confidence. I'm here Monday through Friday, keeping things focused on a topic as well as gameplay. We appreciate you being here, smashing the like button and subscribe button. Let's set our sights on 200 likes. Appreciate you guys so much. Does Summer Game Fest have a date yet? Yeah. We'll be covering it June 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern is Summer Game Fest. I think he was agreeing with me, Creature. I think Ash is saying, I don't think so either. Geoff Keighley is taking over. I think the way they wrote that sentence, they're agreeing with me. There's so much that week. Yeah, I mean, there's Summer Game Fest, then there's the Netflix Geeked Week, Tribeca Games Spotlight, Xbox and Bethesda Showcase, Guerrilla Collective, Wholesome Direct, Future Game Show, PC Gaming Show. Unconfirmed is the Devolver Direct, Ubisoft Forward, State of Play from Sony, and the Nintendo Direct. The only official confirmed cancellation is EA Play and E3. Those are our confirmed cancels. Everything else is happening, and we'll be covering it. You think Death Stranding 2 will get a teaser announcement in June? I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Reforge. Thankfully, you are smart. It's not that I'm smart. I'm used to reading broken chat messages. Hellblade 2, Halo Infinite Battle Royale, Starfield, Everwild, Forza Motorsport, maybe Fable. They have a good list. I don't think they have a bad list, Paul. I think in light of where we are right now, a bunch of announcements about games that are 1 to 2 or 3 years away, I don't think that's going to land that well. I could be wrong. It's too early for Death Stranding 2 reveal. I can't see them doing much with Death Stranding 2. I don't know. I've not followed Sony's marketing strategy closely, but I will say that if I was in charge, I would think that you would really want to let God of War have its own runway, and then later let something like Death Stranding come out. I don't know. They probably do simultaneous announcements and simultaneous, aspects. But Norman says he's filming. Death Stranding 2 could be a teaser. Yeah, it would probably just be a teaser. It would just be basically like confirmation of what Reedus already announced. Do I need to go back and understand the graphics thing from this stream? No, I don't think so. Basically, we just said that there seems that there's a God of War Ragnarok graphics upgrade, and we questioned why that might have happened. We also asked the question, how important are graphics in a game like that? Because we got into a discussion about what does a sequel need to do in order to be a sequel? And we got into a graphics discussion and how you should judge a game based on its own merits and its own goals as opposed to your own expectations. Yo, what's good, Kill You? How are you? Thanks for sending roses and likes over there on TikTok. I thought Kojima was working on something else. Oh man, OW is having that discussion lately. What are you talking about? Ronald says, I don't think E3 is coming back. It's probably easier to do a live stream in-house, not to mention the cost saved of traveling, booths, setup. There's like 5 exclusives on PlayStation with any type of recency, if even that many, which I could clear in a week. After that, you're stuck playing only third-party games on it. Oh, Overwatch. Kojima likes to spin up the conspiracy crowd pretty early. Kind of like he did before the game. What, his last game he did that? You can't clear all 5 PlayStation exclusives you're talking about unless you don't eat, sleep, or use the toilet. He didn't say how fast. Oh, clear in a week. Oh, yeah, I disagree with that, Distorted. I don't think you're clearing the 5... I don't think you're clearing the most recent and good Sony exclusives in a week. That would be really challenging. Horizon Forbidden West and Death Stranding and Days Gone and I don't know, man. Spider-Man and Miles Morales, clearing those in a week? No. People are going to think graphics are crap or minimal increases for a couple of gens while we wade through the uncanny valley. I don't even think it's the uncanny valley, Akuta Papa. I just think that, listen, this is going to be a conversation we have many times. I wouldn't be surprised, right? I would not be surprised if we have this conversation many times. And this is going to be the conversation. This is going to be the conversation. The conversation is going to be, the graphics aren't good enough. The graphics aren't good enough. The graphics aren't good enough. And we get into these discussions all the time when it comes to the art style of games, right? There's an art style debacle that consistently happens in these discussions. So God of War and Horizon Forbidden West, I'm just going to tell you right now, the third installment of Horizon Forbidden West, so you have Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, and whatever the next game is, it's not going to look that much better than what it looks like right now. I'm just going to tell you that. This just isn't. It's going to stay true to its art style. So the environments and the trees and stuff might get a little bit better. Same with God of War. God of War Ragnarok, and then the next game will be like, what? I don't know. God of War, God of Mischief or something. Because they're going to be handing the franchise off to Loki in some fashion. So when they do that, though, you're not going to boot up that game to like, oh my gosh. No, it'll be very, very much in the lane of the graphics that the game is already in. And I don't think gamers are going to get a lot of foothold by taking issue with that, because I think the average person's going to buy those games and love them. You could have a university course on why graphics stay at a certain clip per generation. Clipped? Oh, you're clipping that? Are you clipping it because you think I'm wrong or because you think I'm right, Eugene? Lono did some dialogue and side stuff in Horizon. Add up all his playtime. How long did it take him to beat it? Anywhere near 80 hours? No, but I didn't do... Man, I really beelined through the game. So I'm looking at 4, 5, 9, 11... 11 and 3 is 14, 16, 18, 21, 24, 26... Almost 30 hours. Almost 30 hours. And I didn't scratch the surface on the scope of that game at all. I beelined. I'm somewhere between 25 and 30 hours in Forbidden West. I'm a streamer. I stop. I talk to people. Sure. So you can scrape that down to like 25 hours. And I basically skipped a significant, I would say I only played about 45% of the game. Kill You with 17 months coming in. You're the best. Oh, you think I'm wrong? Oh, it's gonna be so no. It's gonna be so easy to be proven right on this. The next Horizon Forbidden West sequel and the next God of War Ragnarok will not look that dramatically different than the games that we have now. They just won't. They won't. They're gonna work within the engines they've built, the assets they've built. Lighting and environments will improve. Skin texture will probably improve. You know? But no. Real easy to predict why. They're going to start building it if they haven't already. With the existing assets, there's no way. Exactly. I said clear as in beat, not 100% each game. Most people don't play completionists, like I said. My point stands. How does your point stand? So in a given week, you could plug away 25 hours in Horizon and then also do that with like 4 other games. Your point doesn't still stand. Distorted? Are you kidding me? You said you could clear 5 of those titles in a week. 5 of those titles in a week. No way. And clearing them, what? What are you proving by beelining through a game on the easiest difficulty and skipping through cutscenes just so you can claim you cleared it? That doesn't prove anything. First and foremost, your point was, once I do that, I have nothing else to play. Who the frick's doing that? Who's doing that? Who's picking up Horizon Forbidden West and just blitzing through it in less than what I did, in less than 25 hours? Why would you do that to begin with? And secondly, what kind of a point are you proving? There's no point proven by saying, I can play a game in an abusive, stupid way, and I can beat 5 Sony games in a week, and then what am I going to do after that? I don't know, take a shower? Like, Jiminy Christmas. You're not proving a point. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Forbidden West. None of these games would be cleared that quickly. And if you cleared them that quickly, you're not proving a point other than that you play games like a moron. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying if you did that, I'd be like, you're playing games like a moron. Who does that? You're missing the point of why I even said any of that to begin with. I was having a stretched out convo with Geoff. Yeah, but you made it seem like once you plowed through those games that there's nothing else like there's no other main titles to play or whatever. That's what it sounded. The way I read your comment, that's how I understood it is, oh, I can plow through those 5 titles in a week and then what? Then what am I going to do? And I'm like, brother, if you played those games with any amount of respect for the games as they are and with any semblance of enjoyment, it would take you months to beat all of them. His point was that the PS5 doesn't have enough games because all the games are one and done. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes, but no. Right? I just checked. I'm at 92% in Horizon Forbidden West. I'm at 115 hours. That's what I'm saying. Like, yes, but no. Yes, once you're completely done with those games, yeah, they're one and done. Like, they're over your shoulder. But like, Jiminy Christmas, you could spend a year playing through each of those games slowly and enjoying them. Not my point. Well, if he's misrepresenting your point, I'd be interested to see doorbells. All right, I'd be interested to see why you made the point that you did. Then, like, you made it seem as though once these games are out of the way, I've got nothing else to do on this platform. Okay, but your point is hinging on the fact that you beat these games at an incredible rate. If I gave you a PlayStation 5 right now and you got on PS Plus next month, it would take you a year or more to really enjoy the big titles. No question in my mind, unless you play like a madman. Literally all you're saying is missing the point of why I was saying that. Help me out. I'm trying to understand. You've now just established 3 times that we don't understand, and he's misrepresenting your point. Okay, that's fine. He's misrepresenting your point. Then I want to know what the point was. Because your point is hinging on something that's ludicrous. That you could beat these games in a week. Okay, well, that's ludicrous. What was your point then? Because whatever your point was, you weren't doing a good job of proving it by saying that. Like, a week? Looking back over my shoulder, I played Horizon 2 in 2.3 days. PS5 is halfway into year 2. The title rush is coming this and next year. I don't know how anyone can say all the PS5 games are small. Small how? I played most of Sony's exclusives, all but PlayStation 5 exclusives. Oh, so you've not played Returnal and Ratchet, right? Lono giving away PS5? I don't understand. I'm confused then. That's not... I'm confused. I need to know the point that you were making. What was the point that you were making? I didn't ask how many games you had completed. You said there were 5 exclusive titles and that you could beat them in a week. And I want to know what you were adding on to when you said that. It was about why Xbox is a better console, and he said we have no games, and I said someone could beat those games, and then what do you have? A lesser Xbox. I understood your point, and that's what I debated, and I said what you said is ludicrous. Because you made your point in such an exaggerated way. So the only way you get the PlayStation to be a quote-unquote lesser Xbox is for you to play like an absolute moron. No one is going to do that. No one is going to take these big, massive, great titles in Sony's Rolodex and just blast through them. By the way, your measure of the goodness of a console is what? Once I'm done with the titles, it's a lesser console? Well, then I would say the same thing about Xbox. What are you clinging to over there that's so great? To call the PlayStation 5 a lesser Xbox. Well, yeah, once I literally beat every single title that's the reason to have the console, it's just a lesser Xbox. Yeah, well, once I eat the entire pizza, all I have is a cardboard box. You're not making a point. Yeah, that's true. Once you've consumed all of the primary reasons to have a PlayStation 5, sure, its value would go down. If you locked yourself in a room for 90 days with a PS5 and just gremlined your life away playing every square inch of every title worth playing on a PS5, and you come out on the other end of that 90 days and you're like, yep, it's just a lesser Xbox now. I was being hyperbolic on purpose to prove my point that it could be done, not the way in which it's done or why you could do it. Okay, so let's say you spend an entire year doing it, Distorted. You commit to 12 months and you say, I'm going to play all these big PlayStation titles to completion. Yep. And at the end of the year, you're like, yep, now it's just a lesser Xbox. Huh? It's not a statement worth making. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't even sound like something you would say. I'm like, that doesn't sound intelligent. That sounds like a really odd thing. It doesn't make sense as a statement. It sounds not as smart as you are. Like, I've engaged with you before. You're a bright guy, and that doesn't sound bright at all. It's like, huh? How is it a lesser Xbox after you consume all of the reasons to have it? And I thought the DLC versus sequel argument was bad. I'm genuinely confused. I don't expect this sort of commentary from Distorted. I expect it from some people. You drive by Xboxers. I took the sausage out of the hot dog. Now I only have the bun. Hot dogs are trash. Exactly, and that's why I play those 5 games on the PlayStation and literally everything else on the Xbox. It's the better console hardware and software-wise, better ecosystem, better social system. You will get no fight with me on the ecosystem, social system, and software being better. I hate when I have to do anything on the PlayStation. I find it to be so clunky, not intuitive. It does really weird stuff. I've had to change settings. My sound was bad. I had to go into the settings and change the sound. Like, I don't like the software on the PlayStation one iota, okay? So, but to say it's a lesser Xbox, it just sounds... Here's the problem. It's such a loaded statement, isn't it? It's such a loaded statement to say, well, then it's just a lesser Xbox. You have to qualify why you're saying that. Are you saying that the hardware is inferior? You want to get in a hardware debate about the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Talk about a waste of energy. There is not a definitive leader in that comparison at all. To conclude that there is one just shows your bias. If someone says the PlayStation 5 is the superior piece of hardware, that's just your bias showing. They are both very, very strong systems for the money and the form factor. They're not very big boxes. Dadgummit, compare even the biggest one. The PlayStation 5 is huge. Compare it to even the smallest PC I've ever owned, this Micro Center one, and it's still smaller than that. As soon as Sony makes a console I deem superior, I will sing its praises. I'm not opposed to them having a good product, and I'll never talk bad about their games. I played them all. I did in my last message. Yeah, but when you say something like that and then qualify it after the fact, well, that's exactly why you got the reaction you did. If Lono gave me a PS5, I'd stare at it with my Xbox Elite controller in hand and then spend the next 2 weeks trying to figure out how to make my Xbox controller work on the PS5. It's not hard, just get a Cronus Max. Xbox Elite's the best controller on the market. I've used all of them. It's just as trash as every other controller on the market because of stick drift. The Xbox Elite 2 is a piece of overpriced garbage. I have one. I interviewed the guy at E3 about it. I held one in my hand. I got a special little E3 D-pad collector's edition. He gave me one. It's a piece of garbage. And so are all the other controllers. You spend all that money and you get stick drift? The frick out of here. Trash. Overpriced trash. I've never bought a piece of electronic equipment that stopped working as fast as that piece of garbage. In the history of my interaction with technology, that's the fastest piece of crap I've ever bought. Like, what is this? It's completely inexcusable. Well, dude, the warranty, shove the warranty up your rear end. I don't, that's not fair to, I don't have to do errands and call in or mail in or do this or do that. No, make something that doesn't suck. That's your job, isn't it? It's literally a controller. That's all it's supposed to do. It's a piece of garbage. It's a problem for all the controllers, but in my experience, both the bumpers go bad and the control sticks go bad on the Elites. Faster than any controller I've ever used. I got 2 dual senses I got no problems with. I got out of the box. Look at these. I bought these things. These just the colored ones from Target. No problem at all. All of my Elites went bad. My Elite Series 1s went bad. They had bumpers go bad. They had stick drift. So irritating. I do not hold back. I do not hold back on those controllers because they are way too expensive for the fail rate. It's a joke. When you pay $150 for a controller, lasted 2 months. Yeah, it's an insult to the consumer. I've had 2 Elites and 2 Elite 2s, and I think I'm done. It's an insult to the consumer. They have to buy back goodwill if they want us to buy their freaking controllers in the future. I just buy the regular ones now. Why am I going to spend that amount of money? It's clearly become a disposable product, which is a freaking joke that that's even a thing. They've clearly become disposable products. So I just buy the lowest priced one I can get, knowing that eventually something on it's going to break. My Best Buy warranty was an easy swap. Well, yeah, I could see that, but that's you spending extra money because you know, like, how bad is the freaking product if you're going to go to Best Buy and knowingly spend extra on a warranty? Just track with me on just the absolute consumerism malpractice. You're going to an institution and saying, all right, I know this product sucks so bad, I'm going to pay Best Buy extra money so that when it breaks, they'll replace it quickly for me. What? You at least have a somewhat better view of my point when you first started coming at me about it, even if you don't fully agree. Not only do I not agree with your point, you argued for it not just with hyperbole, it was absurd. You went beyond hyperbole distorted into, it was absurd. The amount of games that you can play and enjoy on the PS5, don't even do this, only the exclusive PS5 games. No, because Spider-Man, God of War, Tsushima, Days Gone, they all got nice upgrades, all of them. For the tweets, all right. All of them got nice updates. They're all well worth playing on a PS5. And you backing the point up with being like, I can beat all the game. The point is so weak, even if I ignore the hyperbole. Once I beat all of the games, it's worthless. That's not a point. It's almost, is that a tautology? Hang on a minute. I want to start using that. I think we can a lot. The saying of the same thing twice in different words, generally considered to be a fault of style. They arrived one after the other in succession. It's not quite a tautology. It's not. It's close. It's the spirit of a tautology because it's like, well, once I completely get rid of all of the thing's value, it has no value. What? Of course. You know, Netflix is worthless. Huh? Yeah, I mean, once you binge watch all of their original content, all of their original shows and movies, and live like a gremlin for 90 days, and never leave your house, shave, shower, and have a crap bucket, yeah, I mean, after that, Netflix is worthless. It doesn't even make any sense. It's like, that's not even a point worth making. That's why it sounded so odd to me. I was like, wait a minute, so what, once you do everything on it that's worth doing, its value goes down? Well, yeah? Keep in mind, I was having a conversation with you personally instead of Geoff, who I would have stated it and gone about it significantly different. Yeah, the PS5 and the Series X are literally so close in performance that arguing one over the other is a literal waste of time. Yeah, that's what I just said. I was like, why even bother arguing that point? One box isn't superior hardware. No, it's not. And that's why I said, like, that's a total fruitless endeavor. Arguing PS5 versus Series X is just, it's mind-numbingly dumb. They're both so strong for what they are. They're great. They are absolutely great little machines. They are. And I will always agree with you. Microsoft software and their, you smell so good. Microsoft software and their social systems, they are superior. You do. You put some of that stuff on, didn't you? I can smell you all the way over here. We're talking Geoff here in YouTube chat. I'm not putting that much effort into it. Oh, you're better than that. You're better than that, Distorted. Returnal's DualSense integration is next level. You can touch the raindrops and eat the grass and corpses of your slain enemies. Well, technically, it is better hardware, just by a small margin. I won't budge on that one. Oh, it's not the destination, but the journey. I don't get it. My takeaway is that the PlayStation games are so good that he'll still slum it on the inferior console. Oh, Suede, that's so good. Yeah, the PlayStation games are so good that he'll slum it on the inferior console. That's good. That's well made. Come on. We can get some props for that. That one. That was a good one. That was a real good one. I am sorry, I am not reading TikTok chat. Both systems offer a unique gaming experience depending on how and what games you play. Hi, says Hazy Hasbaz. Thumbs up. Thanks for stopping by. It's because I don't know Geoff that well. He's probably not that interested in the convo to begin with. I wasn't trying to insult him. All right. Listen. You learned a valuable lesson, Distorted. Don't make bad arguments if I'm on the prowl. I'm looking for something to talk about. And you want to trot out some argument in my chat, and you know deep down that it's not very good. You're taking a risk, okay? We go for a walk with my kids, and we go over to this park, and there's a hawk. And the hawk's always on the edge of the school, right? Just chilling there. He's chilling. There's this big open field, and the bunnies and the squirrels know. They all stay close to the tree line and these fences. Why? Because if they go out there in that field, that hawk's going to get them. And you trot out some weak, bad argument in my chat, you're taking a risk. Because I sniffed it out. I was like, wait a minute. What the frick is this sentence? Why are you saying this? And we've spent the last 30 minutes on it. This is all your fault, Distorted. It's all your fault. You ran out in the field and got scooped up. Lono says he can read chats, forgets Discord and TikTok chats. Why don't commonly read the Discord chat? You guys get off freaking topic all the time and talk to each other and not me. The PS5 and Series X are so... Oh, okay. Wheezy said it in both places. It's not my fault that like 4 people talk in Discord and commonly to each other and not me. I've created a mental habit of not looking. And the problem with TikTok is it'll sit there for 25 minutes and never move. That's the biggest problem. If it was constantly moving, I'd be constantly looking down there. I didn't learn my lesson. I said all of that because I do believe Xbox is better hardware, both console and controller layout, software and user experience, and social systems. I'm happy to keep going. I do like the D-pad position better on the Xbox controller. I like that it's below my thumb. I don't know why. Why is that? Is that motion simpler because I'm used to it, or is it simpler because it's arguably better? I can't tell. I can't tell why I prefer it. But yeah, I do prefer the Xbox controller. Even though I love my DualSense. I actually use my DualSense more now than the Xbox. I'm kind of converting. Slowly becoming lonely. All the way. Fully. I like the D-pad better too. What the frick? It's because you're used to it. I think it is because I'm used to it. I hate to have to reach up for the D-pad. It's like it doesn't make sense in my brain. With a good game supporting it, DualSense adds so much. I loved the way that it felt to pull back the bow in Horizon Forbidden West. That felt so cool. I've never had an experience like that in a game before. I thought that felt awesome. I was like, this is stellar work right here. You don't like the Xbox D-pads at all? Slowly? It's funny because I actually really like my Series X. I do. I really like it. I really want Starfield and some of these other titles to land and be killer. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, I'm going to absolutely love being able to install and play Starfield. Like, guys, let's do it. I prefer playing games on my consoles now over my PC because my PC acts up every once in a while. It's just a dadgum headache. I 100% prefer playing on a console. I do. Because they're strong enough to give me what I need. I just need 60 FPS. I don't need all the bells and whistles. You give me 60 FPS and it's pretty and it captures clean for the stream, I'm good. I'm double good. I don't even like doing 120 anymore. I have all my games capped at 60. And I know that drives people crazy, but it makes game capture so much more simplistic. Throw on the VSync, 60 hertz refresh, it goes through the capture card clean, it goes through OBS clean, it hits YouTube clean. Everything looks way better and is way more reliable when I do that. So, like, I am not anti-Xbox at all. I would love it for my Series X to have this nice Rolodex of insanely great stuff. Like, I would love for that to happen. I would love for Game Pass to be getting big titles day and date. Why? Because I could install them for free and play them and record gameplay footage and it wouldn't cost me a dime, and that's great for my business. Like, I have nothing at all against that ecosystem or platform. It would be so great for me if they would start to really ramp up the value and the quality. If anything, some of my frustration and criticism, it comes less from the fact that I'm a Sony fanboy. It comes from me being a longtime Xbox guy. It's like, get with the program. The D-pad low works better because of how your muscles work, especially with the LB, RB buttons. It's easier to go down than up using those buttons. Yeah, but with A, B, and X, we don't do that with A, B, and X. The only games I play on my Series X are Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Halo Infinite. Those two alone are a console seller for me. I also want Starfield to be great. It's tough for me to say those are console sellers when you can play them both on PC. You know what I mean, Gritter? Again, simplicity. Simplicity's key. It's a really nice little box. It is. It's a really nice little box. If someone makes a controller with the Xbox layout and DualSense features, I'll be satisfied. Yeah, that'd be the biggest thing you're missing out on a PS5 is if you get a Cronus Max and you use an Xbox controller, you're missing out on all that haptic feedback. Ori's on Switch too. I wouldn't play Ori on the Switch though. I wouldn't. Switch performance is just butt. Like I'm not kidding you. My wife and I played the Switch bowling last night, the Nintendo Switch Sports Bowling, and that is it, Paul. Those games where you had to like rotate the joystick and like murder your hand. But whenever it does split screen bowling, because we're both bowling at the same time, we're online. It's bowling with. You guys saw the graphics of Nintendo Switch Sports, right? And it drops frames and gets real jittery. I'm not kidding you. I think it messes with the way the pins fall. We started taking turns. It's like, you go first, and once her pins are down, then I go. I got way more consistency out of the game. When we would both bowl at the same time, and my ball would get down there and hit the pins, and it would like jitter. I was like, and then like 3 pins would just stay standing. I'm like, what? I was like, that's the sweet spot that I always throw it. We started taking turns, and all of a sudden I got more consistency out of the game. That Switch is such a weak system, man. It is weak. It's a glorified iPad. Like, it is not strong at all. Regarding Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok sequels, I think you're failing to take into account some things. One, we're in the early stage in this generation. There are no tips and tricks that the devs haven't learned about with the new hardware. Take a look at the launch PS4 games and compare... come on with the pictures while I'm reading. Oh, you took it away! And compare them to the end of the PS4 gen. Sony in-house devs have shown repeatedly that they master the hardware at the end of the cycles, and the games benefit greatly, especially visually. 2, all the dev time that will be completely focused on a single version. No holdbacks. No, can't do this because of the scale type stuff. Listen, I'm telling you right now, everything I know about development, Eugene, no. I picked those games specifically. God of War, whatever the next game is after Ragnarok, and whatever the next Horizon games after Forbidden West, they will not be dramatically different looking. They will marginally improve everything, use the existing assets, worlds, and engines. Do you know what games will do what you're talking about? New games. New games. For one simple reason. You're talking about existing games that typically don't break out like that because of the development bandwidth and the efficiency. If you look at the games that crushed it late stage in the PS4 lifecycle, what were they? They were all like brand new. Now, I'll give you God of War. God of War was a huge departure, but Zero Dawn and Spider-Man and Tsushima, these are all brand new titles. I'm telling you, the developers will stay in that safe lane. I will take that action. That prediction is locked. They will not go nuts. Sure, the foliage in the world will look like way, way better, but it's so graphically going to be very, very similar to Forbidden West. Same with Ragnarok. Miles compared to Spider-Man, but that's kind of proving my point, isn't it? The difference between Miles and Spider-Man, it's not that big of a difference. There is a difference, but it's not like light years of difference. They're very much the same with respect to the city and the graphical fidelity. Death Stranding, I'd have to go back and look at the differences between what, like, you thinking like the director's cut? Death Stranding was on the same engine as Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah. What? And I don't understand. Sorry, Horizon Zero Dawn. Look at the difference just a few years makes. I chose those games specifically, Eugene, because they have an art style. They have an art style and a feel, and I don't think when we get late PlayStation generation, I don't think those games are going to be like, oh my gosh, they're going to look very similar to what they look like now. It's an art style thing. They're just going to use the existing assets, the existing character models and worlds. It'll speed up development so much. Yes, they'll go nuts with lighting and textures. They'll make it look so crazy good. But they had performance issues just with Forbidden West because of the size and the scope of the areas. So more than likely what they'll do in the next one is they'll add in all the pizzazz and the flash and the polish, and then they'll make it run better. But I don't think you're going to play the next Horizon game and be like, oh my gosh, this makes the last game look like a joke. I think it's going to look very similar. The art style alone is going to keep it in that lane. I think the art style is one of the things that's in my corner. I don't see a big departure because it's like even Zero Dawn to Forbidden West, it's like the art styles are keeping it in a lane. It looks similar to the first game in many respects. Foliage. When I say foliage, people freak out. Foliage, who cares? I mentioned Cyberpunk, but actually Minecraft RTX is a better use for my RTX. I truly think this, Eugene. I think the games that are going to do what you're predicting are going to be new games, not sequels. That's what I think. Knowing what I know about game development and developers and the patterns that I've noticed, I'm telling you right now, the games that are going to go nuts will be the new games, the new IPs. The sequels will they'll stay relatively safe. We'll get better performance, we'll get better frame rates, maybe better resolution, lighting effects, texture effects, and things like that. But largely speaking, I think the sequels they'll be somewhat reined in by both art style and the fact that using existing assets is just such a bandwidth gain. Now, again, with all the reinvestment from Sony may not be okay with that. Sony may be like, look, we've invested a ton into your studio and your studio's grown a bunch. You need to really go nuts here. There needs to be an undeniable difference between the titles. This is the time to put the crown on and wear it. My comments are always on the PlayStation console. I praise all their games, and I like all their first-party ones. As soon as they bring them to PC, I'll play them. I'm critical of the console only. Oh, babe, you walked away. Shoot, I need to refill my water. I might just have to do it myself. She was sitting here. I didn't think to ask her to do it. You keep beating on the PC drum. The majority of the consumer base does not play games on PC. Not worth playing with you, but for the masses, big difference. I'm waiting to see what Naughty Dog comes up with. They seem to get the most out of the PlayStation hardware. So does Insomniac. Like, this is what I'll say. I bet you Wolverine blows the Spider-Man games out of the water. Why? New title. So they're gonna be able to say, well, let's make everything from the ground up. Like Spider-Man 2 is gonna look marginally better maybe than Miles, but Wolverine is gonna be like, oh my word, it's gonna look It's going to be a new title, new assets, new characters, new environments. Like they're going to swing for the dadgum fences. Last of Us remakes apparently this year. Yeah, that's the rumor. Holiday. The rumor is the holiday. There's a holiday release for Last of Us remake. Regardless of console, I'm excited for gaming 2 years from now, says Kill You. Right? Yeah, Wolverine won't be cross-gen. Now, I could eat some crow. Who knows? I could end up eating crow because Spider-Man 2 will not be cross-gen. So Spider-Man 2 could come out and I'd be like, you were right, Eugene. Holy frick. Like, they could go nuts in Spider-Man 2. My hunch is that they won't. Because they use existing assets in the existing world and engine and lighting effects and textures and all of that, and it'll stay in that lane. The art style, fidelity, and the impressiveness of the game will not be that much greater than Miles Morales. But Wolverine gonna be special. That's my gut instinct on it. Yo, what is that? Kill You sent a crown? What is that even worth on TikTok? Thank you. And now roses? Yeah, I need to get we need to get a phone for me so I can see when that kind of stuff happens live. You're going nuts over there, Kill You. Thank you. Excited for the Black Myth Wukong game? Same. You will be eating crow? The beauty of it is, oh my gosh, 25? What are you doing over there, Kill You? 27? He's just mashing the roses button. The beauty is that if I eat crow on this, Mo, what difference does it make? I'm going to get to play the game and just laugh. Like, haha, I was wrong. Look at this. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, being wrong in that category will feel really friggin' good. I've covered video games for a long time. I don't think I'll be proven wrong on this. I don't. My expectations for sequels is very different than brand new IPs. And I'm thinking, you know, far out distance, late life cycle PS5 new IPs, they're going to go nuts. Sequels of games like Spider-Man, Forbidden West, and God of War? No. I don't think so. And if I'm wrong, great. But just based on the patterns that I've noticed over the years with game companies and how they handle their IPs and how they handle development, they're going to take the safe route. Like Forbidden West is a good example. It was a very safe route. They did some cool things. They made a pretty game. It's marginally better. It's noticeably better, I should say. Marginally sounds like I'm saying they didn't do enough. It's noticeably better than Zero Dawn, but they had performance issues. Yeah, some hitching and some weird animations and some pop-in. And I don't know if it's all been resolved, but, you know, They barely, I don't want to say barely, they only ratcheted up, you know, a handful of things. And it's a gorgeous game. But look what it did to performance. Telling you. Now, tech could smooth some of this out. But again, that you're hoping that the tech advancements happen before they start building the games or during. Games have been taking the safe route for the last 10 years. It's so boring, hence why I'm always talking up VR. Look at Hellblade. Hellblade's a different animal. It really is. Hellblade's a different animal because they switched everything to Unreal 5, which means they built everything fresh. And if that's my point, is your sequel to Ragnarok, your sequel to Forbidden West, if they're using existing assets, they're going to start building those sequels in the next 18 months. That would be my guess. They'll start working on the Horizon sequel and the Ragnarok sequel in the next 18 months. And the question is, if they do that and they use existing assets, how much of that's going to limit just how much they can make the game look better than the previous? I think there is a ceiling. There is a ceiling on graphical fidelity in games like that. It'll close Summer Games Fest. Watch and see. It's a digital event, genius. How's that going to happen? I'm happy E3 failed and other things. I like companies having their own shows. Like how Xbox and Bethesda. Oh, he takes his shirt off this year? Why on earth would he do that? I thought they were done with God of War after Ragnarok. Where'd you read that? I don't think that's true. Remember, Zero Dawn is both PS4 and PS5. Having to code for two completely different systems like that is rough. That was a point that Eugene made. He says once you leave behind cross-gen support, you know, it'll really change things. But we were consistently banging on the drum that these titles weren't held back because of cross-gen support. Why? Why? Because they use existing assets, and they were able to make the game significantly faster. Do you think that's suddenly they're just gonna abandon that philosophy of like, well, we can make the game incredibly more efficiently and faster, and you know, all the tools, it's what we're used to. We've been working in this world forever, you know, existing assets, engine, all this stuff. Let's just go. Like, I don't know if they're going to be like, nah, let's just rebuild everything because we want to make it prettier. Both of those games will have new engines and will be drastically different. The assets will be able to carry over because it's their own proprietary engines. There's no way to make that prediction. So they're going to build all new engines within their proprietary engine software and then just move everything over. Typically what they do is they update the existing engine to the point that it does feel and operate like a new engine. That's what most of these companies do. That's why when they make the announcement that they're shifting to UE5, like everything gets pushed back because they're like, yeah, we're moving everything to UE5. Game's going to get delayed for, you know, an entire year basically. What will be the first Unreal 5 game to come out for consoles? Probably Hellblade 2. Well, no, Fortnite right now. Fortnite right now is Unreal 5. No, we're not going to do that, Gritter. I appreciate the $5 tip, but I'm not going to let you do a call-in on radio about Top Gun. That's not what that's for. That's a gaming talk show. I can't let call-ins. Number one, call-ins have got to be very brief. They have to be very, very brief. Rocket League's also planning to go to UE5. They have to be brief and about gaming. Creature will shut the whole thing down if it wanders into that territory. He'll shut the whole thing down. He'll go in and edit the member perks. I think Kratos will die and should die. Sony Santa Monica is confident enough at this point to make a new masterpiece with any new IP. Well, I think what they'll do is, I think he'll be an NPC in the next game, and they'll hand the game off to Loki. Define drastic? Eugene might not be live. Or maybe you are. You just waited a while to say that. I mean, my original statement, Eugene, I feel like I gave room and said that the environments in the world and the plants and stuff would look noticeably way better, but that the games would largely look the same because it's an existing world, engines and assets, and I don't know, it's a sequel. I don't feel like I'm going to boot up I don't feel like I'm going to boot up the sequel to Horizon Forbidden West and feel like I'm playing some hyper-realistic game, like some photorealistic game. I just don't think so. That would be such a weird art style shift. Again, I could be completely wrong, and in 6 years we could be playing games that look like, you know, real people running around. In many respects, they already do look very real in some of the games, but I don't know. I think they're going to go for flashy with performance. Like, hey, we added new lighting and texture effects. And then they're also going to focus on performance, because that was obviously one thing that they ran into in Forbidden West. You're conflating art styles changing with graphics improving. No, I'm not. No. If you suddenly went crazy photorealistic and you made Aloy look like a real person, it would affect the art style of the game because it wouldn't look like Aloy anymore. It would look like a different game. Like, look at as an example, look at the cosplayers. Look at the people that do really, really crazy, awesome Aloy cosplay. Okay? You can tell by looking at them that they're not Aloy. Why? Because it's a real person. So if the game gets to that level of photorealism and they go that crazy with the graphics, it would affect the art style, yes. So if they go too high along that spectrum, it affects art style. They don't have to go photorealistic to drastically improve the graphics. I just continue to think there's a ceiling on what games like that are going to be able to do outside of lighting and texture detail. Because it's going to affect performance. Yeah, I think she already looks like a real person, but you can tell she's not. Does that make sense? Like, you can tell she's not a real person. It's not so far along the spectrum of photorealism that it gets into like the uncanny valley where it's like you can kind of like it looks like a real person, but you can kind of tell it's not. Like, she looks like a real person, but not to the point that it's like weird. The problem is you aren't coding for the new hardware 100%. You're coding for the previous hardware and then sliding pieces in. It's not 100% efficient. Yeah, but in that vein, Akuta Papa, in 5 or 6 years, everything we know about this hardware, I am very interested to see just how much more y'all think they can squeeze out of these systems. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. They're not strong enough. They'll get better. The games will be more optimized. They won't launch with performance issues. But I don't think you're going to look at Forbidden West and look at its sequel and say, oh my gosh, it's like a different... No, it's going to largely look the same. Because I think even right now, I think for games like Forbidden West are already squeezing so much out of the system already. Like, think about it like from that perspective. The distance between where Forbidden West is right now and the absolute maximum ceiling they can get out of the PS5, I feel like Forbidden West is already really close to that like, oh my gosh level. It's right up there. It's like, gee, many Christmas, this game is beautiful. And it had performance issues. The distance between this space here isn't big enough. That's the point that I'm making. You're not going to boot up Forbidden West sequel and be like, this is insane, I can't believe they're doing this. Why? Because the current game is already close to that level, that ceiling in my mind. It's like, these systems aren't that strong. They're not future proof. Yo, Fonzo upgrading to a tier 2. You guys that upgrade to tier 2, be sure to use that Madam Game, what's it called? Madam Game Votes. You can go in there and vote for, make us play games on Friday nights as a tier 2 member. In my mind, that's what it is. Like, if you look at Miles Morales and Death Stranding and Forbidden West, they are already almost at the absolute maximum of what you're going to get out of this system, out of this PS5. Now, you want to cheat and you want to bring in some PS5 Pro? Well, I can't talk about that because it's not out. Returnal's native resolution's 1080 and it's PS5 only. Well, it's a first-generation title. Eugene would push back and say, the difference between first-generation titles and late-generation titles are always pretty dramatically different because they learn more. And I think right now, Ratchet & Clank and Forbidden West are already extremely close to the ceiling. Is there room to improve? Absolutely. Is the difference big enough that we're going to be like, oh my gosh? No, I don't think so. I think the biggest thing we're going to notice between first generation PS5 titles and late generation, the biggest thing is going to be optimization and performance, not graphical fidelity. I think we're already seeing the graphical fidelity ceiling of games on the PS5. People said that about Bloodborne and all sorts of games early in the cycles. Just do some comparisons. Yeah, but that doesn't mean they can do the exact same thing this time. I don't think the evolutions are going to be with graphical fidelity. It's load times, haptics, VR even. I think those will lead to innovations in gameplay, not graphics. Yeah, I think it's going to be load time, haptics, and performance. Like optimized, smooth frame rate, really, really great consistent performance. Optimization means less dynamic scaling. Dynamic scaling hurts fidelity. Right, but that's what I mean. I think Forbidden West is so gorgeous and so beautiful, and the performance issues that it periodically has, and the way that it runs on the system, I think you're going to get two things as the system advances, as the developers advance. They're going to get better at the optimization because they're only building for one system, and they're going to add some more bells and whistles and shiny things. But the difference between Forbidden West and Forbidden West sequel, that uptick, I don't think it's going to be drastic. I really, really don't. I will thoroughly welcome being proved wrong, but I just don't think so because the systems themselves have their own bandwidth and bottlenecks. And I'd rather keep my expectations low than have this weird abstract confidence in technological trajectories. Like, your confidence in the trajectory of these games and developers, that's great, but you're way more likely to be disappointed than me, because I'm not doing that. I'm thinking, if everything from this point on looks as good as Forbidden West, and even Ragnarok and Tsushima with their upgrades, and Death Stranding with its upgrade, and Spider-Man Miles Morales, if everything for the entire generation looks that good, I am happy. Especially if they all just start performing better and better. Never failing at 60. Always nice and smooth. Really fast load times. I'm so happy. I think you guys that have this over-realized confidence in what games are going to be like in 4 or 5 years on these platforms, you are setting yourself up for disappointment, because I don't see it happening. I just don't. And if I'm wrong, then we both get to be really, really happy. If you're wrong, I'll be almost unaffected by that. I'll just be able to enjoy what I was expecting to enjoy. I think the technological confidence is understandable, but in this case, I think it's a little bit, it just feels misplaced. It feels very, very overrealized. And we're basing it all on the previous generation. And we don't know if the previous generation had those crazy leaps and bounds. That could have so much more to do with the fact that when those consoles first came out, so many of those games were already in development, and the gamut between the hardware, like the old hardware, was so limiting, and that spectrum could be different now. Acting as if the difference between the 4 and the 5 is the same as the difference between the 3 and the 4, it's not 1-to-1. And neither are the development cycles of the games that came out first gen for PS4. I'm basing it on technical prowess that has happened since the PlayStation 1 days. I'm not setting myself up for disappointment. I'm rarely disappointed in the games that I play. That's not what I was talking about. If the Forbidden West sequel looks basically like Forbidden West with some extra bells and whistles, there will be an air of disappointment. You're telling me they're going to be worlds different. It's going to blow my mind. Like they haven't even scratched the surface. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but that's the impression that I got from you, was that late generation titles on the PS5 are going to blow my mind, and that Forbidden West sequel will look miles different than it. And I'm like, no, it's not. No way. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know how you wouldn't be disappointed. I was away, but there is one more big jump left for console graphics, and that's AI upscaling like DLSS. Neither console has that yet, and the tech is evolving quickly. Well, unfortunately, the consoles can't tap into DLSS. They have to tap into the other one, which I thought was further behind. Which, again, I made my predictions specifically about Forbidden West and God of War because the development cycles will start in the next 18 months, which means they're likely to use most of the existing assets and tools, which means there will be inherent ceilings on what the game looks like. Brand new IPs, I said, yes. Late generation brand new IPs are more likely to have the wow factor blow your mind, but existing titles that have sequels, no. I think you're way less likely to see that, given everything we've seen and know about development. And if I'm wrong, then awesome. I'll get to have my mind blown, being like, yeah, I was wrong, you were right. And I'll play, Spider-Man 3 and be like, oh my gosh. But I push back against marginal. I think in these titles specifically, it'll be marginal, Eugene. Mainly because of when they're going to start development cycles and when and how they're going to just treat the IPs. I think you're more likely to see the big jumps in new IPs. I think that's where you're going to see the big jumps. Like I gave the example of Spider-Man 2. I think Spider-Man 2 will be marginally better looking than Miles Morales. I don't think it's going to blow our minds. Wolverine has a greater likelihood of doing that, being like, holy frick, this looks way better than Spider-Man 2. I'm not expecting earth-shattering, but it's going to be more than marginal. It's hard because marginal as a word isn't... It's kind of almost like an abstract word. Machine learning and such hasn't been touched. All features haven't been used. I think that's the biggest challenge for the titles that I specified. I specified these titles in particular because of how they've gone. I think they'll apply a very similar philosophy for the next Horizon game and the next God of War game. They haven't used the features yet, the DLSS stuff. They can't use DLSS. They have to use the other one that as far as I was told, that one's further behind. It's that one. It's a different chipset. They can't. It's not. DLSS can't be used on the PlayStation or the Xbox. It's hardware based. Right. I thought it was limited to those. I thought DLSS was all NVIDIA, and this one's like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox have to use the other one. FSR is far behind DLSS. That's it. FSR. So if FSR is far behind DLSS, that again is why I chose God of War and Forbidden West, because in the next 18 months they'll start development, and let's say FSR makes leaps and bounds of progress 2 years from now. Will they be able to retroactively benefit from that after they've done so much work? I don't know. Will that affect future games? Sure. New IPs? Yep. Games with existing assets and existing tools and engines? Maybe. Who knows? How much can they retroactively go back and do? God of War's DLSS versus FSR. Which should you use? FSR was better for God of War. FSR 2.0 is competitive with DLSS, apparently. Even if FSR is great and usable right now, and they can really benefit from it, the point I made still stands. I look forward to being proven wrong. If you think I'm wrong on this, I think Forbidden West is already super close to the ceiling of the PS5. That's my argument, is Forbidden West is here, and the ceiling of the PS5 is here. Filling that gap... It's going to feel marginal. Can they fill that gap? Yep. Can they get more out of the system? Sure they can. But I don't think there's that much space left. That's my point. It's like bringing a big old Christmas tree in your living room, and there's this much space between the Christmas tree and the ceiling. And you're like, I'm going to go get a stand for it and raise it up. It wouldn't look that much different. It'd be like, still the same basic Christmas tree. It's just a little bit higher. To be clear, this helps with frame rates, not fidelity. It'll indirectly help with fidelity, Zubair, because they can push fidelity and not have to worry about sacrificing frame rate. What proof do you have? there isn't proof. We're arguing about, like, from where I sit, when I read about the tech and what's in a PS5 compared to the strongest PC you can build right now, it is my contention that Horizon Forbidden West is extremely close to the ceiling of the PS5. I think that the processing power and the bottlenecks and how strong the PS5 is, I think Forbidden West is very, very close to the ceiling. That is because it's such a good-looking game. And when you take this game here and you raise it all the way to here, I don't think it'll be as noticeable. I don't think it will be as noticeable. Will it be noticeable? Yes. Yes, it will. I don't think it's going to be like the differences we're seeing right now. Like when you compare Zero Dawn to Forbidden West, there's all these things you can point out. I don't think you're going to get that big of a gamut of difference. Like, there's almost a canyon of difference between Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, right? I don't think the PS5 is strong enough to create another upgrade of that distance. I think it'll be a shorter distance of upgrade. Give them 8 years experience. That's see now you might start to catch why I said what I said. That's why I specifically zeroed in on the sequel for Forbidden West and Ragnarok. They aren't going to have 8 years of experience. They'll start dev cycles in the next 18 months, and then that'll be a 4 or 5 year dev cycle. New IPs will probably do what you're talking about, Eugene. I picked these titles very specifically because knowing what we know and knowing how they built these games last time, they're going to do it again because they're going to make a ton of money. They already made a ton of money. It's speculation. We have 5 years to find out. Yes, it's speculation. What the frick? That's what I'm doing. What? Speculation. No, Sherlock. Yes, it's speculation. That gives them 8 years of experience with the dev kits. By the time the next one comes out, they'll have 8 years. Oh, I understand what you're saying, Eugene. You're saying previous title and this year title added together is 8 years. Okay, I get it. Okay, yeah, I don't think the pattern with the developers, and I don't think the strength of the system leads me to believe you're gonna see that the leaps and bounds upgrade. I don't think so for those two titles specifically. My personal belief is there is not a lot of hidden performance. This architecture is really familiar. It's not like figuring out the cell processor in the PS3 or OG Nintendo hardware. Right, that's kind of what I'm saying, Zubair. I'm like, I think we're already really close to how good games are going to look on this system, man. I really do. I really do. When I look at Miles and Death Stranding and Forbidden West, I'm like, I feel like we're there. I feel like we're there. This is about as good as it's going to get this generation, and it's really good. There's no reason that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. These games are beautiful. They are so great. But I'm telling you, I think we're there. Yeah, I don't know the tricks and the performance stuff and the learning stuff, Eugene. I don't know if it's going to be enough. We're placing, you and others on this line of thinking are placing so much confidence in the learning and the AI stuff. I don't know. The article for God of War DLSS versus VSR still confirms that DLSS is better than FSR in this instance. It sounds like maybe, did you misread that article? Eugene here says, or Wheezy says to Eugene, looking at each upscaling software, there's clear frontrunner. NVIDIA's DLSS fulfilled its function by maintaining a decent frame rate that outpaced the native resolution without sacrificing image quality across the board. While using each software led to an overall smooth experience, the graphical differences were jarringly noticeable. For those who doubt AI-based applications and software, this is a fairly good example of how AI can provide an edge. What tricks are left to find? This is essentially, I think, if I'm gonna try and argue for them, Zubair, I'm gonna try to come through them, and this is what they're saying. The AI learning technology, combined with the developers learning optimization tricks, combined with only developing for one platform, will lead to greater room of optimization, which allows fidelity to be ratcheted up. That's essentially their argument. It's not a bad argument. My pushback is the ratcheting up room, there's not much room left when I look at the PS5's hardware. When I look at the PS5's hardware, I don't think the AI learning technology, the devs learning tips and tricks of optimization and only building for one system, I don't think that leads to, like, if let's say the difference between Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, let's say it's like there's like 7 points of difference. It's huge. It's a big gamut of difference. The character models, the skin, the rain, the world, the lighting, all of it. Huge difference. 7 points of difference. My contention is Forbidden West sequel will be like a 3. You know what I mean? It'll look better, but it will not be nearly as big of a difference. I think the difference between what we're getting right now, first generation, in the best looking games, and what we get late generation, I don't think that chasm of difference will be as big as the impression I'm getting from those arguing with me is that we ain't seen nothing yet. And it's like, I think we have. I think we're very close to the ceiling. And if I'm wrong, that's a really great thing to be wrong about, because the games are just going to blow my hair back, and I'll be like, I was wrong! Yay! Like, just enjoying amazing graphics. We're definitely well up the curve of diminishing returns. It takes a lot of effort to get just a little bump in fidelity at this point. Tech demos are one thing, stability will be the priority of games. That's the other thing I was going to say too, Sway. That's such a good way of putting it. Like there's such a diminishing return. Like, you can only make water and light look so real. Like, it right now, the lighting effects in water in some of these games, I'm like, it looks real. Like, it looks more real than last time. Like, what? It's not. I just don't think it can look as. I don't think the ceiling is that far up anymore. We're so close to it. I agree with you, Lono. It'll look the same, but I expect the world to be 3 times as large with more of everything. I think that's where the explosion comes. See, that's what I was saying. Performance. Like, I didn't say scope, but yes, scope. They can make things bigger because it's like, well, frame rates don't dive into the toilet now. We can make bigger environments, more moving creatures. The map is massive. Like, oh, and 60 frames per second? That's not even a problem anymore. The AI learning takes care of that. You know, that's where I think we get most of the benefits. I think the benefits we see in this generation, from here on out, it's load time, it's scope, it's performance, it's that nice, consistent experience. And I don't think we're going to be like, oh, but the water and the lighting now compared to then, oh, it's not even the same anymore. No, I don't think so. FSR isn't AI learning or upscaling. DLSS is AI upscaling and learning. What's FSR do then? I thought they were equivalent to each other. As I understood it, I'm ignorant. These things have been explained to me. As it was explained to me, they were both learning. They were both AI learning and upscaling technology pieces. Naughty Dog is about realism and contextual movement, particles, body parts, etc. Did you order some coffee, Glum? Is that why you're doing that? Okay, no. I was just checking. Thanks for putting the coffee emotes in chat. Anybody else want to become a member? Anybody else want to upgrade? Huh? If you click on that join button or the member button, it shows you the 4 perks that you get. Those perks get enhanced when you jump up to tier 2. Really looking forward to you guys picking games that Madam and I have to play on Friday nights. As a tier 2 member, you can do that. They're both upscaling, yes, but DLSS has AI-based hardware upscaling. FSR does not. DLSS is still way better than FSR. In larger worlds, ETC, it isn't marginal. The changes, so many things will change with good coding. My understanding is both upscale, but DLSS has AI. FSR is just an algorithm, basically. DLSS is basically AI upscaling, and you can see the jump from DLSS 1 to 2 to 3 on the horizon. Well, and it's... I don't think you're meaning to, but I feel like you're making my argument a little bit stronger, Wheezy, is that FSR isn't as good. It doesn't sound like it can get as good, which means it's unlikely to benefit these games in the ways that people are speculating. Can you talk about the fidelity difference you experienced in both versions of God of War? Was it a substantial difference? Well, I can't comment because I've not played Ragnarok. I mean, I played God of War on my PS5 when they did the 4K checkerboard and the 60 FPS, and then I played it on PC, and I felt like it was beautiful and it ran amazing, but the 30 FPS just looks like a slideshow and gave me headaches when I played it, but that was so long ago. It was so long ago. You're talking about a performance upgrade. They didn't go back and do They didn't go back and do anything to God of War. It was a performance update. They gave it a 4K checkerboard resolution with 60 FPS. But it didn't suddenly have, like, better textures and lighting. They didn't go back and do any of that. Fine, Lono, you talked me into it. I'll get more light roast. No, you don't need to get more light roast unless you need it. Right now, we have a nice even number of orders today. 2 orders. Oh, wait, no. Oh, no, yeah, 2 orders. You're going to take us to 3. Somebody else has to order then. Get us to 4. Too late? Were you that fast? Yep, there it is. There it is. Mr. Glum ordering a bag of light roast. Thank you, sir. Chat, he basically made it to where somebody else has to order some now. Gameplay loop will always trump graphics for me. Look at Valheim. Yeah, we had a great conversation this morning. I talked about how, you know, the content loop is God, and if you don't sacrifice everything for the content loop, you'll be smited. You know? I've made that argument many times. FSR can only do specific things. DLSS can in real time, based on performance, change the algorithm for fidelity. You could use DLSS to theoretically run a game on old hardware. Really? And that's going to be a big disadvantage, man, as the consoles can't tap into that. Oh, come on. Oh, I was trying to crack my neck and it won't go. It will not go. Let me go over here. Save that redirect just in case. Just in case I forget. We get a version of the consoles with the ML cores loaded, PS5 Pro. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. They'd have to put in completely different video cards, would they not? Wouldn't they have to completely change the chipset of the whole... I don't... That doesn't seem like something they'd be doing for the PS5 Pro. Because then that would be... You'd have completely different architecture at that point. That would make development just a nightmare. For first-party titles... I can agree with that when it counts, but content loop is the only thing for a certain type of game for me. God of War, Last of Us, Gears, simple run through the game needs to wow me with graphics. I don't know why, but when I use the YouTube Premium's play video on lock screen feature, chat stops moving and doesn't progress when I come back to the video. Yeah, it's because it's mainly just playing, because you're suspending the application and the audio is just continuing. It's not necessarily actively continuing to run the chat. That makes sense, actually, in my book. Consoles won't get DLSS, the Switch maybe. Hey, somebody else ordered some coffee. Let's go. A bag of dark and a bag of light. My man, Chris. Chris, I feel like you've ordered coffee pretty regularly and recently. Thank you for doing that, man. Appreciate that. Always good to see membership going up. Let me explain to you guys what we did with membership. So, just because we're so far off the beaten path anyway. So basically, when we moved the show here in September, we had like old perk descriptions and stuff that we haven't touched since, and so I just updated all of the perks. Okay, let me see if I can pull it up on screen and even make it look real crisp and clean. Let me see how it looks. I wish the join stuff looked better. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. So right now, when you go to join, Reforge Gaming, $5 a month. Here's tier 1. These 4 perks right here are what everybody get. You all get this. Increased Discord access, members AMA on Thursdays, member Madam streams, and members community game nights, okay? What we did is I spelled that out really cleanly because it wasn't spelled out. So now it's really spelled out. Those are the 4 things you should be tapping into. Get in the Discord, be here on Thursday afternoons, and be here Friday nights for the Madam streams as well as the community game nights. Now, what we did for tier 2 is we basically enhanced all of the tiers, okay? So you get a VIP room in the Discord instead of just increased access in the Discord. The VIP room sometimes gets codes for games, things like that. You get priority in the AMA streams. Now, right now, that's not necessary, but there might come a time where it is. We're going to get gifted memberships, and those members' AMA streams could get really full and really crazy. And if you want to get priority and get to ask questions first, that's one perk you can take advantage of, okay? Picking games for the Madam streams. Friday nights with Madam are going to turn into tier 2, basically. Just you guys will be picking the games that we play. You throw those in the Discord. Just do 1 a month. We'll raffle every Friday. We'll raffle 2, and then we'll slowly move through the list. So even if you don't win the raffle, eventually your game gets played. And then you'll also get priority access during community game night. Again, community game night right now, you don't need priority access. But when gifted memberships get here, it might start to get a little full on some of those streams, and that's just one more perk if you've upped to tier 2. So I feel like that's a really, really good way of doing it. Like introductory, you get in the $5, you get 4 perks, and then those 4 perks get enhanced if you upgrade. Where's my comically large Rageless Roast coffee mug? Yeah. We don't have that. The PS5 raffle. That's right. Yeah, we're just giving PS5s away, apparently, according to me, according to my conversation earlier. That's good. We probably should have cut bait on this Summer Games Fest after about an hour and a half and played some V Rising, but I'm super gun shy to do that because the minute we go to gameplay, we lose so many people, and then that hurts our momentum going over to radio. And we really, really like taking a bunch of you over to radio because we got a lot to cover over there today. Over on Reforge Radio, we've got a potential Forspoken delay. We've got EA potentially selling upgrade. We got an update on Tachia. So this is where we're headed. This is where we're headed next. This will be the next show. The Rundown over on Reforge Radio. Slowly inching our way up to 3K subscribers. A little bit slower than when we came over here, but that's because the show that in the morning is quite a bit bigger. We're hoping to grow that afternoon show quite a bit. I'll never understand why both consoles only use AMD GPUs. Yeah, I don't know. Elden Ring's getting 4-player co-op? Where'd you see this? Is that a part of the DLC? I'm responding to something that Ginger tweeted. Ginger was like, do they always do this? Do they always just pick a random game for you? Yes. Yes, they do. Oh, it's a mod? Oh, that's not. That's not necessarily news. I mean, I appreciate you telling us, but I was thinking it was like news. Just saw the headline. Oh. So you thought you were reporting news. Oh, that's fine, Dan. You just misunderstood. Yeah. I've had to be really careful with that myself, Dan, because the freaking Elden Ring headlines, it's so many of them are based on mods, and you're like, oh my gosh, what? And then it's just them talking about a mod. It's like, oh, okay. Too long didn't read is Intel has slowly built up and got back into the competitive realm and is actually a better value than AMD CPUs right now. Thought it was news, my bad. Homie, I've fallen for it myself before. They're real tricky with it, man. They're real tricky with it. They are. Because you read it and you think, oh, wow. And then you click on it and you're like, oh, it's a mod. You know? Which makes sense. I mean, that's what articles are supposed to do. We don't recognize this device. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to get the code because my frickin' phone's up there. Oof. Let's see. Okay. For your information. Oh, in 4 days. Okay. Go ahead. Done. Okay. The rhythm loop based twin stick shooter sounds fall is pretty dope. Oh, I think somebody put that in the Discord for Madam and I to check out. Man, that thing streaming on TikTok Streaming on TikTok with that device plugged into it is supposed to charge the battery, and it doesn't. Like, I think it maintains my battery. Like, I just unplugged it and shut the stream down, and my battery is sitting at 65%. Like, it's hilarious. 65%. So it slowly basically kept the battery from dying. Hilarious. Playing right now, pretty fun. Yeah, we almost played that one. One of the things that kind of frustrates me about Steam games, like as an example, there was a game today called Soda Crisis that actually looks really, really cool. And, release date May 23rd, you know, blah, blah, blah. It releases in 7 hours. So it's like, you're releasing at the end of the day on the 23rd. Why not just bump to the next day? And just call it a day. Be like, yeah, we're releasing on the 24th. Like, I don't get it. Like, Steam frustrates me so bad with that. Like, I'm constantly trying to prepare and find games that we could potentially play and, like, record and give you guys first looks with. And, like, the release dates are so dumb. So many games like, yeah, we're releasing on a Tuesday. And then you go check it out and they're like, well, we are, but like later today after dinner or something. It's like, what? Why even bother? Just say that you're releasing the next day. It's super frustrating. Check out the Unreal Engine Human Maker feature on Twitter. Maybe it makes sense for other time zones. What time zone would that make sense? Developer Team Soda. Can I get a... What time zone? Where would that make sense? Not everyone lives in the East Coast? Yeah, but wouldn't it launch earlier in the day, not later? Right? Like New Zealand, Australia. Unless... Oh, they might be... What time is that in, like, Japan? 10 p.m. Eastern in Japan would be 11 a.m. Okay. So that's why that happens. They might be like a Japanese developer or something. If they're in that region of the world, then they're like, no, that's early morning for us. Just skim through the trailer of Soda Crisis. Yeah, it makes it really, really hard to feature content here. Because what happens is, it launches that late, and it's like, well, I'm not going to record gameplay that late at night. I'm like, that's the end of my day, right? And then if I recorded the next morning and we upload it, I guess that might be the best option. Maybe like start kicking these games to the next day. Because this has been the pattern. I'm like, ooh, a new game. Oh, it releases this date. Maybe I can get up in the morning and record. And it's like, yeah, we don't release for another 12 hours. I'm like, huh? And so then I just end up skipping to the next day and I keep getting into the same pattern. I'm like, okay, well, what releases today? Instead of being like, oh, what released yesterday? That's what I should start doing. We might be able to get more games that way. Like, we might be able to cover more games that way, I should say. Where are we? Here we are. Kick things off with this. Okay. All right, let's end this poll. Okay. No V Rising? No. We're in such a crappy spot, man. Like, basically, if we end the day with gameplay over here, that seemed like such a great idea, right? Like, let's play something like V Rising or some indie title for an hour, and then what we can do is we can repurpose that content and send that over to First Look. But the problem is the minute I go to gameplay, we spend an hour losing about 60% of the viewers. And then I try to redirect over to radio, and it's like we got like nobody at that point. So it's like I basically have been writing the talk show and then redirecting as many people as I can over to radio to give radio a nice start. So we're kind of stuck in a crappy spot right now. It's like if we try to do gameplay, we lose all of our momentum. So we're having to slate all gameplay for the most part to First Look. And then we just play like big releases here. Like we played V Rising the day it came out because I thought it was going to be a pretty good game. Turned out that it was. But going back to games, circling back to games, it just seems like such a wasted effort. It's like, well, we just end up murdering the numbers, losing a ton of people, and then maybe gaining some subs in the process. It's like, I don't know. The centerpiece of the channel is a talk show. So it's like, it doesn't seem to make sense to hurt ourselves showcasing gameplay when that's not like our central offering. Like, gameplay is definitely a part of this channel, but repeat gameplay is just not. Other than like Elden Ring on a Friday for From Friday, or if we feel like it's going to work for Ragnarok, like we'll try and play through Ragnarok like I did with Forbidden West. It's just tough because you can only wear so many hats, and this channel's hat is primarily a talk show hat. So the audience gets accustomed to that, and then you depart from that for too long, and people are like, I'm out of here. They'll gladly stick around and check out a brand new game for 30, 45 minutes maybe, but then we just immediately lose them. How do you find time finishing games? I don't. I don't. Yeah, we haven't earned that right yet. I finished Forbidden West and I finished Elden Ring, and that was something we got to do on stream, and we've slowly earned that right. But when certain games like V Rising come out and they're fun, and we think it'd be fun to go back and play it again and maybe show off solo gameplay, it just ends up feeling like a wasted effort because it's like, well, we're just gonna murder our numbers, we're gonna hurt radio in the process. Maybe we gain a few subs, but really, what are we gaining subs with? We're not a gameplay channel, so, we mainly want to gain... I want to gain subs during the talk show, right? Because, like, that's like 85% of what we offer on the channel. So, I'm fine with it. I'm not, like, upset. It's just, like, that's just where we are. Yo, a Tier 2 16-month milestone for Behemoth. Salute, Lono. Sorry, I missed the stream today. Wish it was a good day. Hey, we announced Tier 2 members get in the Discord and go to the room that is titled Madam Game Votes. Madam Game Votes. I'll do a ping in the Discord and link to it later as well. You guys can start picking the games we play on Friday nights if you're a Tier 2 or above. You tagged me on Twitter for what? I hope this is real. Oh. No, that's real. That's real. The faces and things they can do in Unreal 5 are crazy. Yo, a 9-month milestone for BM. Welcome back in. Thank you for renewing your membership. Bummer, I like watching gameplays. Listen, gameplay will happen. Oh, just in time for radio? Did they just drop that blog? Your games A to Z? Oh my gosh. PlayStation Plus games. They just dropped that landing page. Jiminy freaking Christmas. Bless you, thank you. This is why I like radio, baby. This is why I don't like hurting radio for gameplay, because stuff like this happens and then we have a good audience over there for it. You know what I'm saying? All right, we should probably head over there. It'll give me 5 minutes to get ready, okay? I'm going to put a link in chat, and it should redirect you. If it doesn't redirect you, click the link. If not, you're going to have to go over to the Reforge Radio channel. We're going to have to start using the hyperlinks because YouTube's taking forever to fix the URL problem. So we'll have to just start using the hyperlinks like we do here, like reforgegaming.live or whatever. But just in case redirect doesn't work, there's a link in chat. Redirects to other channels have actually been really good. So I'll see you guys over on Reforge Radio. PS Plus just released all the titles that are going to be on it, A to Z. There's rumors about a Forspoken delay. The EA is apparently wanting to get bought or merged. We're talking about all that over on Reforge Radio. I'll see you guys over there.